What do you guys do to keep sane? Because honestly, Luminous, I feel like my head is in it all day and all night.
I play music. I was a musician for a long time of my life, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the studio every day, at least for an hour, and that's my therapy session.
What instruments do you play?
I play
Anything?
everything, but badly. I'm not great at anything, but I play everything. And
the flute?
I have a studio.
Okay,
no.
Let's be more specific.
Okay, all right.
The harp?
So I play guitar and bass and drums, keyboards, and I sing. I was a singer. So
Okay.
yeah, that's mainly my thing. So I use Moises, which is a software that is here in Salt Lake City. It's based here from a friend of mine, and huge software. And they are able to remove the instruments from a song. So you get any song that you like, and you load that on Moises. It separates a song into the tracks, different tracks. And you can say, okay, so now I want to play guitar with my favorite band.
Yeah.
And I play the band, remove the guitar, and then I play the guitar for the song.
Have you seen the TikTok where like a drummer, it's like a big time drummer, but they've never heard the song before?
Yeah.
And they have to like match the beat to it. And like
without the drums. And they have to try to guess how the song was.
They immediately get it.
No, but many times they do a different style.
They did the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. The guy that looks like Will Ferrell.
Smith.
There's an awesome
for Dua Lipa.
Yeah,
Dua Lipa, but he had produced that song, so he had played on that song, so he knew the song.
There's a viral video. It's like 30 Seconds to Mars, Jared Leto's band, and then the drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers. He just listens to it and then like, it's so sick.
This is where the age gap I'm starting to see here.
Oh, really? Red Hot Chili Peppers?
But what? Red Hot Chili Peppers?
What?
No, like I know them. I don't know. If you ask me,
they were
put a gun
massive.
to my
You
head.
guys don't have an age
One
gap.
song.
It's 5 years.
One song.
Of difference.
No.
No, but there is such a difference because, like, think about it. Did you grow up with a smartphone? Like, how old were you when you got a smartphone?
I'm not 12. So I had a smartphone, but yeah, I had it in like grade like 9, basically.
See, I didn't. I had a flip phone until I was 21 years old.
Whoa.
So
I didn't have
like
a phone up
I
to
didn't
17
grow up.
years old.
I literally grew up with dial-up and a flip phone when I was 16 years old.
No, I grew up with, like, my dad had the first computer, the first 100 computers that went to Brazil.
Okay,
One
cool.
went to my dad because he used to work with technology. And I used to program in BASIC, like the little games, and playing those games in one of those green monitors, the black with the green cursor. And and that was me growing up.
I think benchmark, like my first game console was Wii.
Okay.
Mine was
like
Atari,
there was a
Nintendo 64. That was my first
N64.
one.
I remember when you like blow into it and then put it in. Basically, to answer your question, how do I balance it? I don't. I actually have to learn a lot better. My methodology right now is I'll go 6-7 days until I hit like a flat burnout, and then I'll take a day off, and then usually that rests me enough. Like go to a place where I literally can't. I'll take a day, maybe like a Sunday, completely off and turn it off, and then I do it again.
Okay.
I don't think it's the best approach.
It's not healthy at all.
I haven't figured.
You don't have anything you like. You don't work out every day. And...
So I'll work out. It doesn't feel like an outlet though. That feels like a job.
Oh, okay.
And I treat it like I'm clocking in.
Okay.
That's my job before the job, basically.
Okay.
So I don't know. I have to figure out what I was even telling the wife about it. I haven't figured out what is my like music. To your point, I don't know what that is for me.
Yeah, I'm lucky because it's not everybody has that, right? So I'm lucky that I had that in my life. It was not something that I said, "Oh, I need an outlet, and I'm going to figure that out." I just had it.
Yeah,
I was like a real musician for 12 years, and it was part of my life. It was something that was
like everything is off when you're doing that.
Totally, yeah. I
don't
remember anything.
Matters.
Nothing matters. It's my therapy. I go back up. It's in my basement.
Right.
I have the full studio, and then I go back up.
That's so cool.
And then I say to my wife, "Okay, my therapy session is done."
I love it. You know what? The only thing I really enjoy doing is I like building websites.
Really?
Love it. Like I have the bank of domains I have with websites.
What are some of the domains that you have?
I can't say them on camera. People will start looking at them. I'll tell you guys off camera. But like I'll build the whole website. I'll build a whole company around it, and we'll never do anything with it.
Dude, one of my friends has the coolest. I also grab domains. I'll say one of my friend's domain names. So he snagged Where Garbage.
Great.
WhereGarbage.com, and he was going to do like a fully like recyclable materials,
so cool.
like sunglasses, t-shirts, but it's just like everything is recycled materials. That was a great idea. That'd be so
I'm
cool.
more. I own inventoryplanning.ai.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
Great.
all
That's a
about
good one.
getting all the ones related to what I do, and I just get everything. I think I own 45, 50 domains.
I tried to get prep.com.
Oh,
$500,000
my
to
God.
get it. And I was like, I'd never been like that close to buying one. And I like really talked myself off the ledge.
Yeah.
But I was like,
It's too much.
that would have been really
Oh.
cool. Prep.com. Like it just,
that's
the
incredible.
way it rolls.
Oh,
You guys have to
that's it.
be aware of the .new ones. Do you know the .new?
No. What?
So if you go to sheets.new, it goes to a new Google Sheet. You know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Docs.new goes to a new Google Doc.
Mm.
And Google's starting to promote the .new because whenever you want to start something, you just go to that domain .new.
Oh,
or
cool.
whatever it is .new. So I
Okay.
bought like the PO.new is mine. So if you want to start like a PO, my dream is that when whoever wants to start a PO just goes to PO.new and it's going to load the PO tool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I have those details.
What do you do for burnout?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Drink energy drinks.
Yeah, I just keep going. I don't know. I work out. I go on a run. For me, I always have to be pushing for some crazy goal outside of Luminous.
Super unhealthy.
Like,
It's
let's
me
do.
too.
I break a certain time on a marathon, or like I don't know, bench press a certain amount. Like I always have to be pushing for something.
But that's good, right?
Yeah,
I think that's good. That motivates you to do something else.
yeah.
I only have goals inside of Flieber, which sucks. I don't have goals like that I do outside of what I do here.
I tried to break it down. There was a thing Sam Parr, My First Million, was saying. It was like business, relationship, personal, and there's one or two more. And it's basically like you have like your 5 buckets that you're playing into. So that was one part of it. So the one thing I've been doing is I bought the big ass calendar. Do you guys know Jesse? It's
Yes, yeah. I've seen that.
obsessed. So I have the big ass calendar. So there's 2 things I've done with that, which have been super fun. One, I have a thing called a misogi. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Really cool. So a misogi, it's from a Japanese saying of basically the misogi came from like one big thing that conquered your world or conquered your lifestyle. And the idea behind a misogi is you have one big theme that happens for the year. So your misogi is one thing that like your entire year, that's your theme. So for example, a misogi could be you run your marathon. Misogi for me last year was like going to Portugal with the wife or getting a new house or whatever misogi might be hit $100 million. So you have your misogi, whatever that is, business or non-business. Then I have a thing, which are my supplements. So I list down everything that gives me energy. I try to do, there's 10 of them, like working out, going for a run, spending time with the missus, taking the dog for the walk, which is one of them. So I want to aim to get like 5 of those a day. 5 of those a day, I'm good, I'm happy, right? And that's kind of like my daily supplements.
Yeah.
And the last part I do is called mini adventures. So you have the misogi, which is on an annual. You have the mini adventures, which I do 4 to 6 of those a year.
Okay.
The goal of those is like, it's just something to break the pattern of what you're currently doing. So the mini adventure might be that it just has to be something you're not comfortable with.
Are these all on Jesse Itzler, his calendar?
Yeah, it's all the theme of what Jesse Itzler does.
Okay.
So his
I
this
really
year
like
was
that.
like his misogi was he went to like Sweden with a bunch of his friends.
Yeah.
But then the mini adventure could be like taking the boy to football.
Yeah.
If it breaks the cycle or going for the hike that was uncomfortable for you to do, whatever it is, like I'm gonna take my dad to a soccer game. Just a mini adventure. And the idea is like, okay, well, if you do 4 of those a year, and for the next 30 years, right? So now you have
30.
a couple hundred mini adventures. It's like, okay, you lived a good life.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind them. So you got misogi, mini adventures, and then you have your daily supplements.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build my world like that.
I'm not self-motivated enough to have all that. I just live life, and I have 3 kids that basically rule what I'm gonna do. You were just saying, oh, why don't you stay one more day so that we can ski? I was like, oh, I have to drive my kids to Boston for a football camp. So
I don't have kids, so that probably helps for sure.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Once you have kids, Jared probably knows that, right? How that takes over a big part of what you
for sure.
How do you balance it with kids? Like this whole idea.
You become their slaves, basically.
Oh, I mean, life is totally different. Like it's like my life is before kids, after kids.
Yeah.
Do you feel
and your kids are still young because as they grow, what happens is you become an Uber driver, basically. You're driving them around and everything is about them, about like taking them to different places. So there's not much you can do with your I mean, it's terrible to say that, not what you can do, but it's a lot harder for you to focus on yourself. If you have a wife, like a partner, for example, it gets even worse, right? Yeah, because it's one more. Yeah, it's one more person to. That you have to.
But do you feel you put your once you have kids? Do you feel you put your gas off the pedal just a little bit?
I don't know, because it's different, right? Because now you have people who depend on you. So I think the pressure grows exponentially.
Interesting.
For me, time with friends just like goes away completely. It's like my time with my kids and then my career, and then I still have extracurricular activities and stuff, but like not as much. It's just kids, work. That's basically it.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I would say it motivates me more though. So I want to pivot to something real fast. There's random questions that I just want to like ask you guys about business. First off, what are your thoughts on SDR to AE, like that motion, or just full cycle AEs? Because I'm super opinionated about this right now. I have 3 full cycle AEs, 4 if you include me. I think modern day, like SaaS businesses like Luminous, the SDR to AE model, in my opinion, is dead. I know it's pretty strong, and I know you do SDR.
Why do you think that?
Because I think it's a much more profitable arbitrage. I would rather trade, instead of paying for an SDR, I would spend all of that money to build out infrastructure of a brand and distribution of media that then, instead of paying $50K to an SDR, I can paid ads.
Yeah, that's not.
The thing is, what normally happens is companies they'll do paid ads. They'll just do like traditional B2B. They'll bid on a keyword that Stored was bidding on, and it doesn't work. And they're like, paid ads sucks. So many people are willing to dump 50K, 100K, 150K into SDRs. But if you dump that into media and distribution of that, build up an actual funnel, the arbitrage on paid ads is arguably better.
Don't you think this is just because this market is still growing, is still developing, and when everybody is doing that, you have the same saturation as you see in the other market?
Probably.
Yeah.
But nobody's doing it right. I mean, people are doing it, but not very well, not in my market.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I also don't think it's that easy to, because hiring an SDR, you're getting someone who's a professional at doing that, and that person comes, that they have kind of supposedly knowledge about what they're doing. So the learning curve and the results that you get are much more short term than trying to build a whole practice of content. Is because you guys are very good at that. You are good at that. You are good at that. I suck at content. And I don't see myself doing like, oh, okay, I'm gonna build myself a content machine, and I'm the one who's going to lead this thing. It's very hard, So,
but why is that though? Like, is it just sort of like you're less comfortable in front of the camera, or
no? I don't think
you're
that's
just less attracted to.
It's more the dynamic. It's not only recording. I love talking. I talk all the time. I could be talking here for 3 days nonstop, no problem at all. The problem is what happens after the talking. Like, what do you do with that content? How do you distribute it? And how do you make it accessible to people? And how many shorts are going to build out of it? And where to put the shorts and what time? And so there's a whole strategy behind it. That's not as easy as hiring a bunch of SDR. So that's why I think most companies do it.
I lost a lot of money doing the initial SDR. So we go back to like 2022. We spent probably like $500,000 on SDR, BDRs, whatever you want to call it. Like traditional, we brought in like new guys. These were not trained experience. These were like my buddies at a university,
right? Yeah,
paying a couple $1,000s a month to go like, okay, go drum up business basically. And so my opinions change over time. We got burned by that. That did not work at all. Where they went hard, they went straight to outbound. We had a contact list on an Excel file, cold call, DM on LinkedIn. Didn't work. I think what we've changed over time, I think one, we've become a lot less reliant on our SDR focus. We still have it, but I'll explain. It's a little bit of a different focus of how we're doing it. One, our SEO game is insane. Like, we are the best in the logistics world for SEO. No one can go head to head with us. ShipBob is going to be the closest, but we're still dominating them on like And we're just benchmarking on like ranking, basically.
And how do you do it?
But why is that? Do you just a million backlinks and blogs?
Yeah,
and
like we overinvest into it really early. It's the only thing that I really saw fruits of labor on was we're still probably like 70% inbound SEO. Basically.
Got it. Okay.
Right? So we're just like, we've ranked for these keywords over the past 3 years.
Okay.
But we have a whole team in India doing just SEO. But SEO is a few things.
That's
SEO is
interesting.
like technical, SEO is backlinks, SEO is new content, blogs. Like your game is content out and backlinks in, basically.
Right.
It's the entire playbook. So we're like, we went on a quest earlier this year to go like, okay, well, what about cold storage? We didn't have the infrastructure for it, but we're like, can we rank for it? And now we are like the top ranked cold storage facility in North America.
Dude,
we're reverse engineering our solutions based off keywords.
Oh,
so
so
our future services, like the reason that we're bidding on like Seller Fulfill Prime is just because the traffic's there.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to arbitrage keywords back in basically versus trying to build the product to go out.
No, that's cool.
So that's
cool.
That's really helped us.
Yeah, you're building the product off of the demand instead of trying to build a product and go for it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So
like
smart.
We rank for everything. So that's really helped us. But our BDR team is now fully like, so we have a team in the Philippines.
Okay.
They're more like, I'd call like go-to-market specialists.
Yeah.
So I recruited a couple of like data entry guys, like big leagues in the Philippines. They're experts with Clay, Lemlist, all these other LinkedIn automations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still I don't want to call it pray and spray, but a lot of it is like they are running Clay. So we'll take lead lists. We're also going to all of our current inbounds that come in.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing outbound on LinkedIn. They'll do cold emails, but it's also hyper personalized because we use Clay. So we're still sending, I call like 7,000 to 10,000 emails a week, and then we have another 15
targeted emails.
Targeted emails, or like for example, we use our B2B.
Yeah, we have
web enrichment. It goes through Clay. We'll filter accordingly, and then some of it goes to our AEs, and then some of it goes to I call it like remote BDR team.
Got it.
So I don't know. I think the BDR team is like, we're even changing the wording. We have like call like 8 AEs, but we're converting those to be called account managers because I truly think like it is a full sales motion. I also think like at the moment our AEs, the challenges are like they would sign a customer or a merchant and then they would pass off.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm like, no. Like you're part of this journey for the brand. Like,
because that's always the discussion in my life. That was, where do you draw the line between the sales and the customer success?
And I don't think we figured it out, but I think what we've done a really poor job is like the expansion of merchants. Like we do a great job with the marketing to bring them in. But I think we did a half-baked job. We do it's fulfillment. If you fulfill an order,
right?
Yeah,
you technically
nurturing for upsell.
We did a poor job at that. So now like the guys we have coming in is like, okay, your title's account manager. So that means you're going to field business. It's mostly inbound. You're going to field the business. You're going to close it, but then you're going to
take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll comp them differently. So we want them as a commission forever.
Right.
In perpetuity.
Wait a minute. Can I just go back to the, I got kind of, intrigued by the keyword thing.
Okay. Tell me, let's go.
So in your process, do you go and you look for keywords and see which keywords are better in terms of arbitrage, that there's not a lot of people in it?
That's exactly what we do.
And then you'll define that keyword and say, okay, I'm going to go for it.
So we think of it like a cluster. So there'll be a cluster of corresponding keywords. So I just use cold storage as a hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cold storage is going to have probably like 100 keywords around it. There's going to be local keywords like Alabama cold storage facility, cold storage near me. And there's going to be top 20 cold storage warehouses. How do I need to use a cold storage? So there'll be like informational, and then there'll also be transactional keywords. We'll create a whole segment to go like, okay, it's kind of like how people look for like products, right? Where it's like, okay, this is an open segment. No one's competing here. And you can tell if that keyword's good because like there's usually low search volume, but it's a really high cost per click. So you know someone is spending the money to and it's probably some big boy like a store who has a ton of money or a NetSuite.
And you get that information from what? SEMrush?
Yeah, SEMrush. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. But yeah, we'll rank there. So then we just see it as like and then we create what we call like an SEO pod. So it's a team of 3. So there's a PM who does like, they're creating new landing pages, design, technical work. There's someone doing content, any of the articles, new landing pages for very specific regions, whatever it is. And then we have someone just getting backlinks. So some of those are paid backlinks. Some of them there's earned backlinks and there's paid backlinks, but you have 3 people per cluster of keywords. That makes sense.
And that's where in Philippines?
No, we have a team in India. So we have an office in India. probably like 15 in the India office, all just like killers for this stuff.
How is AI gonna totally wipe that out? Or
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
The SEO, because people are talking about the search engine optimization becoming what do they call it? They call it GEO, I think. That's
we got our first lead inbound from ChatGPT.
We had a few also from ChatGPT that they said.
Like, when was the last time that I don't know, I'm curious about your behavior here. Like, when was the last time that I haven't searched something on Google in so long? I don't search on Google anymore.
We're designing our strategy for chat. So I would call like 15% of our inbounds coming from ChatGPT now.
No way.
Because we'll track the source, right? So then like everything we're doing, we're just thinking about the ChatGPT function of what they want to see, or like how people are, the behavior of how they're searching there.
Right.
So, and like if we go through, we have a little empty box on our website to go like, how did you hear about us? And it's not skewed. There's no drop down, whatever. It's just like blank box, you tell us. And like a good portion now, it's just going up every day. ChatGPT. We got one yesterday, it's like Gronk.
Yep.
Claude recommended you guys when I asked for a warehouse. So I just think it's changing of how we're thinking about it. But
is the strategy to understand what people are asking on ChatGPT, or is the strategy making the content in a way that when ChatGPT will search, it will index to your content?
Yeah, because like you can think like any keyword they're going to ask on ChatGPT, they used to be doing it on Google.
Right.
It's not that they're asking a different thing. They're just using a different engine that's smarter. So in a previous life, you're looking up top inventory forecasting tools,
right?
Or do I need one? Now they're going right to chat, and it's actually just giving them.
Doesn't just query from Bing? Doesn't GPT?
It depends on what you're doing, but traditionally it's mapping it from everywhere. So it will reference the articles, but there's way that the SEO team goes. It's just like they're just thinking about that prompt. But yeah, like we need to bring on those guys.
Dude, that is so interesting.
They're sick at this. I can give them the directional strategy because I understand the mapping of it. But boy, they just so the gentleman Ari who runs that team, he's like Forbes in the India world. He's like the Neil Patel of that world. No one headhunt who's ever listening to this, but yeah, so he's the guy that runs our India office, but he's the Neil Patel of that ecosystem. So I don't know. SEO is a hard game though. Like you have to, I don't think if you don't have a right team behind it, it's not worth it. But like, boy, I don't think we'll be a third of where we are now if we didn't have a technical SEO game. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Brand helps.
Do you guys do SEO?
We do, but we don't focus on it too much. It's just like we're just chipping away at a couple keywords.
I think what's changing is now it's also becoming video. So like top ranked search results, like if you're on Google, majority of them are shorts on the tops. If you can rank for that, I don't know. I do think like if we don't figure out video soon, that SEO game is it's still gonna be a piece of it, but this is why I'm trying to really figure out video because that has to go with it.
We are all back-end tools or services for commerce companies. Like, so Blair's AMZ Prep, so prepping inventory, sending it all around the place. Your inventory planning, I'm like a system of record. Where do you guys see the most practical applications of AI? Because it's just this buzzword right now where, I don't know, I haven't seen too many like actual practical, like, oh, that's cool. What are you guys seeing in the market right now?
I'm interested in your take.
No, I see,
not some BS God tier idea.
In another episode, we talked about this thing, but I think the data mapping part, so being able to figure out, because I think for all of us in some level, you a little less, but also impacted by that, integrations is an important part of the process, right? How to integrate with the data, coming in, going out, and up to today, it has been always a group of people connecting APIs, your API with the other person's API, and then mapping the data manually. And then the API changes and they have to send a message saying, oh, we just changed the documentation and your team has to go back. And that's stupid if you think about AI, right? Because AI, I think one of the biggest things is going to be able to figure out that mapping. Imagine that AI has the documentation loaded.
Oh, it's incredible.
And they can map the data. I think that is going to be the biggest breakthrough for our businesses.
100%. Like we right here, we're so integrations heavy. Yeah. And if you have the API documentation for the tool that you're integrating into, dude, you can just throw it in ChatGPT and just maps all of your endpoints. It's crazy.
As we also spoke before, if you think about a no integrations world where anything you'll drop into like something, you have an API, that's fine. Just put the key here, or you have an Excel spreadsheet. All right, just upload it. You have a Google Sheets. Okay, just put the link. Or you have a folder with just put the folder. And AI is figuring out what that is, because the context that AI is capable to get out of the big number of data that is able to read is able to figure out those things, right? So it's not that hard to think that AI is going to be able to figure out if you're uploading sales, or if you're uploading inventory positions, or if you're uploading a PO, or just by the context of the data that it's receiving. And I think that's going to be completely a changer.
Rate shopping, I'm pretty sure, but that's not really AI. It's just that's normal stuff. It's something interesting that I'm seeing is inventory agents, or really like order editing agents, like AI agents. So think about ShipStation. If I'm going through my fulfillment flow for the day, there's a bunch of things that I'm gonna change. I'm gonna check for errors in the addresses. There's agents that can do that now that are AIs. That's super cool. I'm curious, Fabricio, do you think one day Flieber will be like this all-knowing AI that will make replenishment decisions for you and, like, push the PO to NetSuite, or push the TL, but it automatically does that?
One day it's too vague, right? We have to define the timeline.
How far out do you think we're from that?
But I don't think it's very hard to say those things, because I might look stupid 5 years from now.
Just
but today,
in front of
everyone. In front of everyone. My opinion
Give
is,
us a date. Yeah.
But I don't foresee, like, the next 10 years. I don't think it's possible for AI to get the whole context that is around making a decision for inventory. For example, you're purchasing like 2,000 units because that was the ideal quantity that you need to purchase.
Right.
Then when you call your supplier says, oh, I'm going to be out on vacation. Get 3,000 instead of 2,000 so that you're covered for a little longer. And then a PO with 3,000 comes in. How does AI get the context that you purchased 3,000 because the guy was going on vacation?
Right.
Okay, it might have like the email from the guy or a WeChat from the guy, and AI can read that, but I don't think we're even close to that level of data connection.
We're making bets on extracting data specifically from email, because a lot of times for a system of record, keeping it updated to, for example, like keep track of your landed costs. The most difficult part is keeping it updated from information in emails or in texts or in WeChats. Yeah. Exactly. So where we're trying out AI is like, could you reply with could you put Luminous in this thread, and could we just operate on that thread of context and just pull out the freight bill and attach it to the bill?
Have you worked with Flexport before?
We have, yeah.
Flexport does that. So
really?
Yeah. So you have the thread for that PO, and everything that happens, email or message,
it's automatically updated.
Is being fed into that thread.
Do you think you actually will need an operations team in the future, though?
For a brand, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a one team. Like a one-person team,
like how we think about from like a sales, like we have like one go-to-market. You might have like one operations specialist.
I think this day, like if you use Flieber, for example, you don't have the need for a lot of different people, because a lot of what you spend time doing in spreadsheets is solved. So if you're Luminous plus Flieber, honestly, a couple of people can manage a $100 million brand.
I feel like pie in the sky idea for AI powered brands. It's like, how far are we away from robotics 3PLs actually being mainstream? Is that a real thing?
That's probably where we're going to be the closest. So we put, I think you saw them in the warehouse.
Yeah, we went there.
So we have like Locust robots.
We almost got ran over by one.
Yeah. They're really cool. They're really cool.
So, you have robots?
So we have, yeah. So we have like a batch of like 10 robots in the Toronto facility, and it's early. It's really early. You can tell like this is like the baseline to see.
Right.
So basically what it will do is like, it allows for like a fractional efficiency of, instead of a lady going around grabbing the cart, going and grabbing it, the robot will meet you at your next pack station. It will do 10 different picks, and then it will drive it to, because the packing workflows, orders come to a bin, you go grab it from the bin, you do a whole cart, and then the cart goes to the team packing, which is usually at like a separate stage inside the warehouse, and then they pack and ship out. But the robots are doing this like intervention intermediary.
Okay.
And if I understood right, before they would go with a cart and get the products and then go to the station, and then they would scan the products.
Every single one.
And with the robot, it's at the time that they're getting that product, they're already being scanned, right?
Yes. We have a brand that does like apparel. We do like 437. They're a big apparel brand. All their leggings look the same. right? So, and if it's all barcode based, so
Uh-huh.
you kind of know, if you're looking at it, it's like A1642. So you have to like walk 12 steps. The robot knows where it's going and it's like, hey, it's right here.
It's here. Yeah.
Go pick it. The next thing I think is going to be like, we're going to start adding like lighting to the corresponding bit.
Oh, yeah.
So it will light up, scan it out, and then you can go and continue to process. But I think it's going to change a lot. Like the other thing we're seeing is that we're exploring it is a big challenge with logistics is cycle counts. So monthly, quarterly, annually, big merchants will want some level of cycle counts. And there's robots that are now in the evenings, they'll go through the entire warehouse and scan.
So I saw technology with it. There's like this company called Kibsy or something.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah. So it's like as long as they have a camera or they have drone counting tools, they'll fly by and it's like up to like 95% accurate.
They'll do it in the evening, so no interruption on operations. Versus like if we do a cycle count now,
it's nuts.
You have to close operation for like 2 weeks. You have to literally bring down every and it will take like, we did like one of the aggregators, like a Thrasio hypothetical, it could take like 3 weeks. Your operations is shut down because you literally have to count every single item.
Well, so does that mean that, I mean, 3PLs and fulfillment is already a commoditized space.
Very.
But I mean, when robots and everything goes mainstream, does that not mean like, I mean, it's just going to be a race to the bottom? Or
yeah, I don't.
20 years away. Like,
one of my biggest predictions, I think, similar to what we saw in the SaaS space, in the Amazon space, the consolidation of warehouse is going to be massive the next 2 years. We want to be a part of
that's necessary because, we try to integrate with 3PLs and it's a never-ending game.
Yes.
You're always playing the catch-up and always, you're like, okay, so now I covered what my customers were asking. And then tomorrow a new customer comes.
Yes.
None of the 35 integrations that you built.
It's very segmented. So we're going to go through the process of rolling up a few warehouses next year to see. But there has to be, it's almost like a natural, that's like the progression of growth, I think. Like, I don't, that kind of looks like, you guys know it in the technology space. I just think every industry goes to this level of maturity where you almost have to clean the books. Because in the future, you're right, technology, there's some warehouses that we see now, like Temu, for example, or JD.com.
Oh.
Massive undertaking. They're going to be huge. Their robots are like, it's like 80% automated their warehouse. So they only have a person at the packing station. Everything that you have one person on receiving to set it up inside of, just pictures huge rack, it's a technology where it's only bins. You have one person on receiving, putting it in the bins. And then until the order's getting sent out, you just have people in the packing stations. So what used to be a 40-person warehouse team goes down to 4. So I think you'll always have a need for people, but I think you won't need the general manager. You will need like a technology supervisor and a couple individuals doing packing, and the room for error will be so low because the technology is, you can put anyone, like they can be blind and pack the orders because they're going to create such, walls of security. Yeah. But it's cool to see. I think the consolidation is probably the biggest thing that we're going to see. Like, it is a very competitive, and you can see there's pricing wars to the bottom now. It's a weird market.
I think we're slowly starting to see this, but in our space, it's really just the price, like the revenue per headcount, revenue per employee is just going to go higher and higher and higher. Like, I think you could run $100 million brand with like 1 or 2 people.
Totally,
especially as warehouses become more like robots and they're run with AI, and then their WMS is AI enabled and it's mixed with Luminous, who's AI enabled. Like, I think that's where it's going.
Think about what that does of like, okay, so now your warehouse is a fraction of the cost. Your team is 1/3 of it. Now these brands are going to have, like 20, 30% EBITDA when it used to be 8. What does that mean? Does that mean that what are they going to use? Are they just going to become cash cows? Are they going to be able to spend money?
Thrasio coming back, baby. Start aggregating.
I think, first, it's not going to, things don't happen in the perfect way that we all think that they're going to happen. So the other costs are going to come along the way for sure.
It won't be people, it'll be technology.
It'll be something, yes.
Right.
Guys, when that happens, let's start our aggregator, raise $1 billion.
Pay yourself $65 million.
$100 million right here. Big boss, president.
It's a weird space that we're in. I think all of us are like, it's so funny because all of us touch a different piece of it. And it's like our worlds collide, but we're still in our own isolated segment.
That's what I was talking today to Steve about that. Where I think the market is going to be, what is the exit strategy for Flieber, for example? I think there's no way that we're all going to be operating in silos as we are today. I think there must be tools that are more like the more end to end to what we do. So that's, we are very close to each other because our tools it makes sense to be together, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's going to happen. Going back to the cost by employee, my aim in the past was $250,000 per employee, and now it's $2.5 million.
It's insane.
It's crazy what AI is.
IQ Bar. I was just talking to IQ Bar. His $10 million per employee. It's that's crazy.
Oh my God, $10 million already without the benefits of AI.
And he's still on like Google Sheets and ShipStation and QuickBooks. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, it's one of those cases. I think it's not the rule. It's one of those outliers that kind of prove the theory.
Right.
But I don't see everybody doing that. It's not feasible today to do that.
We all have these ideas about how AI is going to impact the market, but then you look up and, like, for example, an idea that I've always had is like, man, somebody should be able to change prices based on
inventory availability.
Yeah, exactly. Inventory availability, or like what's happening in the market. But there are AI tools that do this, and they're not super successful right now. So it's just I agree with what you said. We're 10 years away from AI doing
context.
Exactly.
It's so much context that needs to be understood to be able to make a decision.
So it's all going to start with like one layer of context. Yeah, that's what you were talking about last time. AI agents that do one specific thing.
Yeah,
like they'll go through your list of orders and they'll identify fraud and they'll edit.
No, but more than that, imagine that you have a company that sells jewelry, and then someone else has a company that sells toys. You might have AI agents that are different for each one of those companies, because I think that there's no reason why we're not going to develop into a world where you have ultra specialized AI agents, simply because the overall AI agents, the master of all, who's going to be the first layer for sure, that master of all is not going to, it's impossible for it to have the context of every single detail.
I'm seeing you post about the amount of new leads you're getting, and your AE's calendars are full. What are you doing? Like, where's this coming from? Where's the source? Maybe it's not this podcast for it, but like, how are you building all this pipeline?
Yeah, it's all about our content funnel. It's all inbound. So we've been ramping up inbound for about 12 months now. But we started out just with, inbound was probably bringing in about like 5 leads a month. Now ramped up, we're at about like 150 leads per month.
How many of those are like go to meeting booked?
I can't remember the percentage. It's like, I think 40% of those end up on a meeting. And then from that, we have like a 20% close rate, 20-30%, depending on the source. But it's all from content. Like, we've gone all in on this video content-led approach. So it's been like the past 2.5 years, we've been building up the funnel. And that's something that Sash and I were really intentional on. It's like the middle funnel, bottom of funnel, the day and like everything. Also, like our sales embedded content is what we call it. So in other words, like for like a year, I just kept track of every single question that it took for a prospect to close. And I filmed videos on all of that. And now we customize sales decks at the very bottom of the funnel. It's just like bottom, middle, and top of funnel. So it's like bringing all of that together has been beautiful. And our cost per lead is
You're doing
I love your content.
And it's so the top of funnel, our top of funnel, on top of it, the advertising. It just makes it where your customer acquisition cost is
amazing.
We spoke about that. We were in Toronto. We're like, that was good.
But organic content, it just helps. It helps in the conversion process. So when you're in the middle of a deal, when you're in the middle of a demo, so you demo somebody, you show them software, post demo, that's when they make the decision whether or not they're going to choose you. And it helps so much when you have like high quality organic YouTube and TikTok content. So we already have a lot of that, but the next step is get damn good at it.